It's Jill, and today we're going to talk about the top 10 tips to stop that stress eating. So the number one, plan ahead. And we know this, right? It just makes sense. But on the other hand, most of us are guilty of not thinking ahead, and that can lead to mindless eating and then eating more than we intend to realize. So by planning ahead, we know how much we should eat, and we always know and choose, right? We choose what we know will serve us best. Always say that I choose to, whatever, I choose to eat this amount. So always use those words and it will go a long way. And, this goes for eating out also because in our world of supersized foods, right, we are always being served these huge, huge portions. And then we end up eating the huge portions just because it's there. But we're not really hungry for it. So what you do with little trick is just cut it in half. Cut it in half from the get-go. I choose to eat half of what's being presented because I know I'm going to be full. And then you just push it aside, you eat the half, and then you can wrap it up for the next day. How easy is that? But again, by planning ahead, that can make all the difference with everything in life, right? Okay, number 2, never eat anything straight out of a bag. Big, huge rule. Big no-no. And why? Because, we end up eating so much more than we intend to because it's just too easy to do that. And then we never even realize how much we ate. So the rule is pour whatever portion I choose to have one bowl filled with 10 chips, and that's it, and just stick to it, and then don't refill it. Just that's it. That's what you choose, but really never ever eat anything out of a bag. Okay, number 3. We have talked about this because it's so important, and that's about drinking water. Make sure you drink water before snacking or before meals. And I hate to beat a dead horse, but it's that important. Why? Because most of us are dehydrated. We're not getting enough water to begin with. So the trick is drink a glass of water before you have a meal. And that can, do a few different things. It can fill you up and it will hydrate you and get you prepared for your meal. Never drink water during a meal, mind you. I just wanted to say that. Drink before, drink after. But when you drink during a meal, it literally washes down the food. Now you might be thinking, well, what's so bad about that? Well, when you're washing it down, it doesn't give your body a chance to digest and break down. So it's really important to give your body a chance to do that. And when you drink water or anything for that matter, it just kind of throws it down so it can't get absorbed. So drink water before a meal and then drink one before a snack because, again, you might really not even be hungry. You might just be thirsty. Okay, number 4, avoid buying food that doesn't serve you well. Oh my gosh, does this make sense? I know it seems so obvious, and I know so often we're in the market and, we're hungry and we see something, oh, I'll just have it just in case. I mean, I'm not going to eat it, but just in case. Yeah, right. Well, if you know it doesn't serve you well, it's not for you. And of course, there are exceptions when you want to treat yourself, and that's fine. You should have those little rewards here and there, but don't keep a stash, as it just makes it harder for you to resist knowing it's there. And yes, I know that many of you have families that don't exactly want the healthier versions and do what you're doing. But first and foremost, I will always say that buying junk food for your family is not serving them well. I'll never forget, I had a client who told me, he said, I said, and I was talking to him about this, and he said, oh, I would never do that to my kids. I don't want to deprive them. And I said, are you really depriving them or are you hurting them? Because the food the junk food it's just going to down the road make them feel more sick later on. So you're really helping your children, helping your family by giving them good, nourishing food. Okay, enough of the lecture on that. But again, if you have better choices, then you will go so much further. So take it from me, I had to learn the hard way when my daughter got sick from the food she was eating. Now, we had no idea at the time, but that's how, she got so sick. So once we fixed that, all of a sudden she was so much better. And I do know that it can be really, really challenging, but you do it out of love, and that's what you just try to explain or just do the best you can. But if you can't do that, I get it. And there's times when you can. Another trick is to put the food that doesn't serve you well in one cabinet away from you so that you never, ever open it. And then you put your food in a different cabinet. Now, never go into the first one. It's kind of an out of sight, out of mind, but just do whatever you can so that you're not tempted. Just little tricks. Okay, 5, eat more fats than carbs. Fats? Don't fats make you fat? No. You want to eat healthy fats. As a matter of fact, your body needs healthy fats, and that's how your cells function better, and that's how you actually can stay hydrated. And there's so many important reasons to have good essential fats. So the reason you want more fats too, obviously they're so healthy for you, but they're so much more filling than carbs. So they will leave you feeling full because they don't spike your blood sugar levels. Because when you spike your blood sugar levels, it goes up, 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 and then it comes crashing down. And when it comes crashing down, then you're starving again. So with the fats, it kind of keeps you level. Fats and proteins, it just kind of keeps you level so that you're just more satisfied for a longer period of time. So enjoy good fats such as avocados, nuts, and seeds, and good proteins, and use good first pressed olive oil whenever you can. It is so good for you. Again, fat does not make you fat. It's the low fat diets that caused all of these disease and diabetes in the first place. Okay, number 6. I'm gonna use my fingers for all of them. Only eat in the kitchen or at a dining room table. Guys, when we eat, we really should eat with intention and focus on enjoying the food that's nourishing us. Because when we focus on, when we focus our attention on what we're eating and enjoying it, and even eating with others in an enjoyable environment, it puts us in a more relaxed state of mind. And that way we can digest our food more and utilize our food. Remember, food is fuel for our bodies. Like, as much as we like it and enjoy it, it actually is fuel. So you have to keep it in mind. So it's not just for us to eat when we're hungry and just to do something because we're bored, but we need to help our bodies by nourishing it what it's meant to eat. And that way we can give your cells more energy, and then it just, bottom line, helps your body operate the way it is meant to. So never ever eat mindlessly in front of the TV. That is the worst thing you can do. And I know so many of us do it. And listen, I've been guilty of doing that myself. But try not to. Be intentional, because then you will actually see much, much better results, and you will get more nourished when you're doing that. Okay, also, now, sorry, not also, but now we're up to number 7. Do some type of physical exercise every single day. Guys, there's so many options out there. So whether it's walking or yoga or running or cardio or swimming or even walking up and down stairs a few times in a row, it helps pump up those endorphins, which are feel-good neurotransmitters. So it does make you feel good. And then, it gets things moving. So it helps us set up our brains that we're doing something healthy also. So we start to think a little more when we're doing something healthy like exercising. It makes us less likely to make bad food choices. So it acts as a really good incentive, as well as just being amazing for our bodies and just making us feel good. Okay, number 8, use your opposite hand when eating. I've been trying this, and let me tell you, it's funny and it's a little challenging, but it's great. And the reason that it really works is because it makes you think. So first of all, it also slows you down because it's so counterintuitive. I'm using my left hand because I'm a righty, but it's so counterintuitive. It's a little awkward and everything. You have to think about it. So oftentimes, because it takes so much more time, because how many of you just scarf down your meal in 2 seconds flat? You don't even know you're full until a half hour later, and you're like, oh my God, I ate so much. This makes you really slow down and a little more intentional. So it's just a really good trick, and I suggest that all of you try this. Now, number 9, enjoy shell nuts like pistachios and walnuts. Now, the reason I'm mentioning these is that I, in particular, want you to buy these nuts with the shells, in the shells. Because, first of all, it's a crunch. It's a nice crunch. So if you're missing the crunch, it's satisfying. But also, it takes time to shell these nuts. So just by virtue of the work and the time it takes, you're not going to eat as many. So, so often you just take a handful and you're, bleh, and 2 seconds later, you've eaten more than you should have because it's just so easy. And think about it, way back when, maybe cavemen, maybe later on, whatever, before we packaged these shelled nuts, you'd have to go up to a tree and it was in a shell. And they did it, and nature is amazing that way. And it kept you from eating too many at a time. So again, eat it in the shell. It's more work and it will take more time. And it just ends up being a little kind of a nice, fun activity as well. Okay, number 10, and something that's so, so important, calm the stress. It's hard to do, right? Because so many of our minds are going crazy right now. But these are where I'm going to give you a few tips and tools how to decrease the stress, because it's just so important, because it really it not only is it bad for us mentally, but it literally has a physiological reaction too. So think about this. So when you're anxious, right, what does your body do? Tightens up, it contracts. So when you feel stressed, it's like there's a vice squeezing your whole body, right? And when your body is completely contracted, it's really hard for you to digest food or excrete waste or do anything that your body's meant to do, right? And let's keep in mind, right, the excreting the waste, that's peeing and pooping. And that's so important. I know people are so uncomfortable talking about it, but you need to be, obviously, we're going to pee every day no matter what, but you need to poop every day. It's so important because you don't want to keep all those toxins, the waste, sitting in your colon. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important to eat better, because if you don't eat well, then you're not going to excrete well, and then your body's going to hold on to all of these toxins. So it's so important to do that. So our brilliant body's response is to produce cortisol from the stress, and that is your stress hormone. And what that does is it helps escort the stress out of the body. But when you produce too much cortisol, it tends to store extra weight. So it's a protective mechanism. Again, our bodies are brilliant. It's a protective mechanism because it thinks that you're constantly in this protective state, like you're always in the state of fight or flight, like you're ready for anything. So it stores up reserves so that you always have energy that you may need for the next time around. But here's the problem. It's commonly stored around the middle, right? That spare tire, that muffin top that so many of us are experiencing now. So we need to tamp down that need for cortisol, and we can do that in a few different ways. So first, just a relaxing cup of herbal tea. It is so helpful. There's something about it, the warm glass and just the herbal tea. It just makes you feel really, really calm and relaxed. Another trick is deep breathing. Super easy. Just take 5 deep breaths, but you breathe in through your nose with your mouth closed. Then you hold it in to the count of 7, and then you exhale through your mouth to the count of 8. And you do this, and it's amazing how much it brings you down. And it's so easy. Just 5 rounds. That's it. Couldn't be easier. Then also another trick is closing your eyes. Try this now. Close your eyes and smile. You have to smile. It's very important. And then during this time, I want you to think about something, a place or an event or something that happened that just really makes you happy for 1 minute. Set your timer. Just think of something that makes you happy. And all of a sudden you go to your happy place, and it's amazing how much better that you feel. And then finally, another trick is humming. Humming has shown to be really, really helpful in de-stressing. And I choose Happy Birthday song because it's just long enough to build up your nitric acid or nitric oxide. And what nitric oxide does is it causes the smooth muscle relaxation. So it calms everything down. It just relaxes all your muscles. So let's try it together. Now, the trick is you have to leave your lips slightly open so you feel the vibration, and breathe through your nose, like really, like exhale through your nose as you're singing. So that's it. It seems so silly, but it really, really works. And you will notice that you feel so much better, that it just brings you down a notch. So hopefully all of these tools helped you. And the top 10 for sure, try all of them and tell me what you think.